How are we doing? All right, I'm Parisa Shelton with Morning Crane to bring you this fabulous class called Beat the Burnout. Provide you with tools in order to boost your tolerance for challenge, thus reducing the stress in your life and preventing or reversing if anyone's feeling burnt out, because boy, has this year been a doozer. We're gonna go ahead and get started just by tuning in for a few moments. So in a seat or in a standing position, I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes for a moment and allow for the thoughts of the day to settle. And then bring your attention to your breath. Take a long, slow inhale and a long, slow exhale. Do that again. Inhale long and slow. This time, pause and retain the breath. And then open the mouth and exhale like a sigh of relief. And feel yourself empty out. Try that a few more times. Inhale long and slow. Fill the body up with air. Pause and retain the breath. And then open the mouth and exhale. Feel yourself empty out. And try that one more time. Inhale, long and slow, like the longest breath you've taken all day. Pause, hold the breath. And then open the mouth and exhale. Empty out. Bat the eyelashes open. Smile. Can you see my face? Smile. S-M-I-L-E. Starting my internal love engine. All right, there's that smile. What to expect? Okay, so we have about an hour together, and our goal is for you to feel better after this class than you feel right now. So if you have a pen and paper, just jot down a number, like 10 being the ultimate best. It's like the best day ever. 1 being the worst. Just whatever number comes to your mind, just see how you feel. Write down a number. And then we're going to check back and see if we're feeling better by the end, okay? And the next thing is, in order to help us gain clarity on how chronic stress over time can lead to burnout. And we're going to define what exactly is burnout and what that looks like. And then provide you with some simple tools and tips to release stress, to boost your tolerance for challenge so that you can go out there and conquer the world. How's that sound? What can we learn from a dandelion? So these are a weed, if you will, that is, once you have them in your garden, it's fairly challenging to extract them. And the reason why is because the root of the dandelion has these sub-hair fractions of a root. So if you take the dandelion and you just yank it out of the soil, guess what happens? Those extra little fine fibers of the roots stay in the soil and then later on sprout. Massage the soil and you water it and you turn it and you nurture it and you gently and take your time and you soothe and guide the dandelion out of the soil and get to the top root. Then guess what happens? Then the weed gets removed from the soil. This is comparable to bad habits and unskilled behaviors. The more that we engage and continue with unskilled behavior and with quote unquote bad habits, then it gets further entrenched into our cells, into our tissues, and into our life. So we want to be gentle and we want to conscientiously till and tend to the soil and tend to the garden of the mind to weed out the negative thoughts. Not that we're not going to have challenges and strife, because of course, living in this human form, there is bumpy roads and challenges ahead of us. But what we want to do is tend to it gently and consciously so that we can pull out the weeds of bad habits and unskilled behaviors to reduce the ultimate stress in our lives so that we can live healthy and happily. So there's a lot we can learn from this gardening analogy. All right, chronic stress. Boy, has this year been stressful for many, many, many people, right? We had to reshift, change our focus, reevaluate. Everything seemed to have changed right overnight. This is the cycle of chronic stress. So what happens is that we have a stressor, a challenge in our life, something that is displeasing or not what our mind ultimately thinks should be happening at that moment. We have that stressor. Then we'll have the reaction to the stress. There's a response. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Then what that does is that it wears and tears on the body and the organ systems, which thus reduces our optimum health and then increases our sensitivity to the stressor the next time. So we all are aware, everybody knows like that stress is the silent killer, right? It's the leading cause of death and disease is stress, trauma, and negative emotions. So what can we do in order to lower our stress response and the stressors in our life? That's what we're going to talk about today. Because what happens is if you don't deal with the stress in your life, if you continue that stress cycle and you don't take care of your physical body, then it leads to burnout. And what is burnout? Well, burnout is when the things that used to bring you joy, that you used to enjoy to do, you no longer have energy, you feel tired, you just don't want to engage, right? I know for myself personally, I was headed towards burnout. There was so many things that I was doing on a regular basis that wasn't filling my soul. So I had to take a step back and take a pause. And for me personally, the game changer is a dedicated regular practice of breath focus and mindfulness where I spend time in the morning just with myself. And I highly recommend that you do the same, is that you tune in and listen to what's going on. And what that does is that it changes the mind and the focus so that you can go about your day and respond rather than react. So if you feel yourself not enjoying the things that you used to enjoy, then that could be a clear sign that we're headed towards burning out. And that's what we want to avoid. And then how do we deal with burnout? So I am headed towards burnout. So then what should we do? Well, the first step is to recognize, right? So we want to watch out for the early warning signs of burnout. If you're constantly feeling stressed, if you're constantly saying to yourself, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I don't feel like doing X, Y, and Z, oh, I have this appointment, but if you're constantly feeling that, then it's time to recognize that you could be headed towards burning out. And then the next step is to start to reverse that process. We want to start to undo, to start to tune in, to start taking care of your body, to recognize and reverse. And what that will do is build resilience, building resilience to stress by taking care of your physical and emotional health. And then the magic of life unfolds. It's not that you won't have challenges in your life. So this is the analogy. So if you drive down that dirt road and you're in let's say a crappy 1985 Honda Civic, no offense Honda, but one of those really old cars, and you're driving down the bumpy road, how's it gonna feel? Boom, you're gonna up and down. It's gonna be very uncomfortable, right? So that is headed towards burning out. But let's say that you have a beautiful big truck that has the lifts and all this fancy stuff, air condition, all the comfort. You drive down the same bumpy road, but guess what happens? It's more smooth. The bumps soothe out and you don't feel this rockiness that you might have felt in the older car. Now that's the same thing of these practices that we're going to show you today, is that it's going to boost your resilience so that when you have rocky unevenness throughout your life, because you will, and we all will, experience strife and turmoil, but we'll have some tools in order to cope and to release, like an outlet to release the stress. Because if you think of the body, using the analogy of like the body is like a tea kettle on the stove, the water's boiling, and if there's no outlet for the water, then guess what happens? The whole thing explodes. So we need to be able to have little outlets where you can release some of this stress. We need outlets to release the stress so that you can build your resiliency and your tolerance for challenge. Do you have your pen and paper? We're going to take a quick survey here. So 0 is not at all, and 5 is a lot. And I'm gonna read out the questions, and just real quick on your piece of paper, whatever first thing that comes to your mind. 0 is not at all, 5 is the most, and then it goes kind of from 0 to 5. So if you have recently, and we're talking about within the past week, past month, recently, if you've had a feeling of helplessness or powerlessness, okay, put your number down. Have you experienced any lethargy, exhaustion, or chronic fatigue? How about any feelings of anxiousness or excessive worrying? Or a loss of interest in intimacy? You just don't feel like it, you're not in the mood. And what about a change in drinking habits or medication seeking? Take a moment there. Now, if you answered 4 or 5 on 2 or more of those questions, then that could be a sign. And that goes back to the previous slide of recognizing, okay? So this is just to like shine a light and to recognize where we are, so that then you can reverse it and then you can do something about it and literally change your life and change the life of those around you. And looking at the mind-body connection, because most people don't realize how powerful our mind really is. And the other thing that's so interesting about the mind is that literally, where is the mind in the body? Like, there's a connection between the mind and the brain, the mind and the heart, but when they dissect the body, like, scientists are still trying to discover where is the mind. And in Chinese medicine, they say that the heart houses the mind. And here's the example. Point to yourself, okay? Point to yourself. Right? When you point to yourself, you point here at your chest. This is me. We don't go point to ourselves like this, right? Into our brain. This thing is something else. But there is this whole connection between the mind and the body. There's a saying from Tony Robbins, and he says, where the mind goes, energy flows. Right? So we really want to start to pay attention to the thoughts that float through the mind. Now, it is very difficult to control every single thought that comes to your mind, because as people, we'll have somewhere between 10 to 20,000 thoughts in one day. Can you believe that? So can you imagine if you were trying to control every single thought that popped into your mind? It's not realistic. But what is realistic is when we take time and pause and tune into our breath and take inward journeys and tap in what's going on with me today, we gain space and clarity about the thoughts that are flowing through the mind, right? So then we become aware that I've had this recurring thought that keeps happening, and then that's when you're able to make the change. There's something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, so talking about the nervous system in the mind, is like a plastic, I'm going to say a plastic bag, but it has that plastic type property, meaning that if you take a plastic bag and you fold it in half and fold it in half, and it gets that line in the bag, then guess what? That line is etched in there, and that happens in the mind too. And there are ways of reversing it, but becoming aware is the first step in order to building resilience and boosting your tolerance for challenge, thereby decreasing your stress and reducing your risk for burnout. Conscious breathing, that's a great segue. We did a little bit in the beginning, but we're going to do it again now. So first, in a seating position or standing, I want you to elongate the spine, meaning pressing down through the bottom as if there's a string on the tailbone with a slight little fishing weight pulling you down. And then at the base of the skull, imagine like balloons pulling you upwards. So there's this oppositional energy happening of the down and the up at the same time. The spine becomes long and lengthened. Then closing the eyes again or taking a soft, unfocused gaze. Think of your breath like a box. Take a long, slow inhale. Pause and hold the breath. Then take a long, slow exhale. Pause and hold the breath out. Ready? Breathe in long and slow. Pause. Open the mouth and exhale. And pause. Try a few at your own pace. Inhale long and slow. Hold it. And exhale. Imagine like a cup emptying out. Empty, empty, empty. 2 more times. Deep breath in. An audible sigh and exhale. And then bat the eyelashes open. All right, feel more relaxed, right? So that is something that's super simple to do, and you can do it at any time in any place. I recommend that you spend 5 minutes in the morning at a minimum just tuning in and tapping into that same breath pattern that we just did. And I promise you, if you do that for 1 week, 2 weeks, it is a game changer. Your day will change, and the rest of your life will be completely different. Conscious breathing, the first tool, so simple and obvious, but yet so powerful. And the simplicity is the beauty of it. I hope this picture makes you smile, because the next practice is that we are going to imagine our happy place. And what does that mean? Again, using our creative visualization and our imagination. Remember when you were a child and your imagination would go wild, right? And you would just create and pretend and play dress up and whatever it was. We want to tap back into that right side of the brain and use our creative visualization and our imagination to find that happy place. So again, close your eyes for a moment. Tapping into that long conscious breath. I'm going to count down from 10. And once we get to 1, we are going to go to our happy place. Now, wherever that is for you, it could be a beach, it could be the sunset, into a forest, a bubbling brook, a mountaintop. Wherever your imagination takes you, go there and spend some time there. So starting with 10, 9, 8, 7, relaxing more, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Transport yourself to your happy place. Look around and notice what you feel. Notice what you see. If there's any cool breeze blowing in the winds, notice any sounds or smells. Just notice, feel, and relax a little bit more, a little bit deeper. Okay, and in a moment, I'm going to count back up from 1 to 5, and it will be as if you had a restful nap and you'll wake up feeling energized and revitalized, feeling better than before. We're going to go 1, coming back into your body, back into the space around you, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Open the eyes. That's it. Bat the eyelashes open and smile. All right, feeling better than before. How is that happy place? Okay, so that little tip and tool is something that you can also use on a regular basis. Like if you have a stressor coming at you and you're feeling like, woo, frazzled, literally go into the bathroom, go into the other room, close your eyes, tune into your breath, take your mind to your happy place, then come back and address what's going on. Again, it's going to be a game changer. But the key is that it's like you have to catch yourself the moment before you go down the rabbit hole, so to speak. Does that make sense? You have to catch yourself that moment before. Take the time, pause, and everything is going to be okay. The next tool, another really obvious thing, is sleep as medicine. So we all know how we feel when we don't get a good night's rest. And the reason why sleep is so important is that we're going to compare it to baking a loaf of bread. Sleep to the body is like the oven to the bread, to the dough. So if we don't put the dough in the oven, then the bread doesn't fully form. During sleep is when all these important cellular bodily functions happen. And if you're not able to get a good restful night's sleep, then what happens during the day is that we feel tired and groggy, irritable. The stress that comes at us, we're less able to handle. And it's more like we're back into that old 1985 Honda Civic. We want to be upgraded into the 2020 Escalade, right? So sleep as medicine. The other thing is that, and I'm going to say it, I know that we're like in our working day, but taking a nap. The power of the nap. A 20-minute power nap 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week, another game changer. And literally, they have done tests that some of the world's brightest minds, the genius level minds, are taking naps on a regular basis. It's well documented that Albert Einstein took a 20-minute nap every single day. Thomas Edison, he would nap. Because what happens when we nap and rest, even if you don't fall asleep, if you can tune in and you focus on your breath, you go to your happy place, then what happens is the mind goes into the theta state where the pictures and the symbols start to form right here at the frontal cortex, at the forefront of the mind. And that allows you to become clear about what it is that you desire. Because most people are unclear about their heart's desires. And that is comparable to getting your GPS out and just letting your GPS take you wherever it wants to go. So if you don't have a clear destination and the clear coordinates into the map, then you could drive around town all day and what really gets accomplished? So tuning in and tapping into what your heart's desire in order to direct your life to ultimately health, happiness, vitality, and all that really good stuff. But sleep as medicine. And if you're feeling less than optimal, if you know someone who's been struggling with chronic pain or disease, and they're able to literally sleep it off, so to speak, then we will see miracles that can happen. Getting out in nature is so therapeutic, and it is well documented that the sun rays, that the UV light of the sun rays, I'm going to say it, can kill viruses. Getting out, being in nature, taking your shoes off, like literally take your boots off, put your feet on the dirt, ground yourself, connect with the trees and the nature around you. When we go to our happy place, most people aren't like in a big city with tall skyscrapers and stuff like that. Most people go into nature. So making a commitment to get outside, to let the sun warm the body, to fill the cells, is also a very great tool and tip in order for you to reduce stress, to increase happiness and health and your overall vitality and well-being. Everything has changed. This year has been so interesting in terms of being able to adapt and adjust. And what is that saying? Adapt or die, right? We have to adapt to the ever-changing environment around us. So taking time, I'm not sure about you, but for me personally, this is like the most computing and phone and like being behind the screen than ever before. So I have to make an effort on a daily basis. I go on a walk, I take time, I try to get outside, connecting with nature. I really like birds. You know, if you can watch the birds and stuff like that, it will do wonders for your body and your mind. Movement and mindfulness. We all know about the mindfulness revolution. There is a mindfulness revolution that is happening. And there's a way to move, and I'm going to take us through a few practices here before the end of our session. There is a way to move simple movements that connects the mind and the body, and that gives us space in this ever-changing environment so that we can tune in and actually become clear about what it is that our heart desires. Because just like we just talked about, if you're not clear, like what is your heart desire, or you have a heart desire and you're doing something that's the opposite of that, then that's going to affect you on a cellular level. Here's the practice. Let's all stand up. We're going to take the toes forward, bend the knees and tuck the tail. Start by pulling down heavens by bringing the arms out wide to the side. Take a nice deep breath in. And then bring the hands down in front of the body. Just scanning the front of your body from the forehead down to the feet. Do that again. Reach the arms out wide to the side. And now scanning the back of your body from the head down to the heels. Try that again one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Now scanning the center core of your body. We're gonna bring the arms up shoulder height. One arm's gonna come in front, the other arm comes behind. I'll slow it down. Come back to the center and then switch. One arm in front, the other arm behind. And we're going to front and back, gazing at the tips of the fingers. And then you can even imagine your legs are like a pump. Get the image of a barber shop pole. You know those poles that sit out at the barber shop? With a spiraling upward current of energy. Imagine, sense, or feel as if this sweeping motion is tossing away any troubles or worries. Like you're sweeping away any stuck or stagnant energy. Gaining peace of mind and clarity. Balance and harmony. Breathing in and out through the nose. And we'll just do a few more here. Coming back to the center and one time. Inhale, pull down heavens, deep breath in. And exhale, long, slow breath. And empty out. Okay. The next practice is a little bit silly, but since we're, here in our own little space, it's called shaking the tree. The first thing I want you to do is think about something that irritated you recently. Your spouse, I always laugh at that one. Your spouse, maybe your coworker, boss, situation, kids, family, whatever it is. Think of an irritating situation. Then we're gonna literally shake it off, starting at the fingertips. Breathe in and exhale. I think you could do a little better than that. Come on, I'm doing it on camera. You can do it too. Ready? Exhale. One more time and shake it off. All right, good job. Thank you for participating in that. Inhale, pull down heavens. And exhale. Just notice what you feel. Try that again. Deep breath in. Gather. And a long, slow breath out. One more time, inhaling. And exhale. Okay, I'm gonna show you one more exercise, which is actually a daily practice for many people, very beneficial, and it will increase your lifespan, not kidding. It's a spine stretch. It's pretty simple. We're just like this. The palms are gonna spread wide. The gaze is upward. From the side view, it's like this. And then we're going to make a soft fist. As you exhale, draw the elbows and the wrists together, tuck the chin, and look down as you draw the navel back. Ready? Expand. Big stretch. Look up. Feel that expansive energy. Open the chest. And then exhale as we empty out. Any yoga practitioners out there, this is like a cat-cow stretch, but in standing instead of on hands and knees. Exhale and empty. Try that again. Big stretch, gaze upwards, and exhale. Try that a few more times. Feel that wave-like fluidity from the tailbone to the base of the skull, spine stretch, And again, look up and empty out and look down. One more time, big stretch. And we're going to empty, empty, empty. Good job, press up through the head. As you push down with the hands, relax the shoulders. And one time, pull down heavens, deep breath in. And a long breath out. Okay, something's telling me to practice one more Qigong flow, which is the liver cleansing movement. So start like you're holding a ball, keeping the spine long. This can be done standing or sitting. One hand is gonna push forward as the other elbow pulls back. Gaze at the fingertips. Squeeze the ball in the center. Exhale, press. Look at the fingernails. Eyes go wide. Squeeze in and press. Now this particular movement works with the emotional component. Ready for it? Anger, frustration, resentment, irritation. So think of a situation. What comes to your mind when you think of irritation or resentment? Just notice the picture or the image. And then as you exhale and press, shape shift that image and imagine, sense or feel the anger, disappointment, frustration, resentment leaving the body, leaving the cells, leaving the tissues. As you allow for a surge of creativity, kindness, compassion to fill every cell, every tissue of your being. Squeeze in the middle, exhale and press. Feel that surge of energy, revitalizing and replenishing. Try that again one more time, each side and other side. All right, tell yourself something nice. Good job, self. Pull the energy into the chest, pressing down with the hands as you push up through the top of the head. 3 times, let's pull down heavens. Inhale and exhale. Feel that wave wash over you. Feeling calm and confident. Do that again. Deep breath in. As you exhale, just imagine like a white light, a cone of white light filling your body, surrounding your body. One more time. And release all the way down in the ground. Take a moment, just notice what you feel. All right, the mindfulness revolution. Okay, if you have your pad and paper handy, something comes to your mind, write it down. Did your heart speak to you? Did a heart desire come forward? Write it down, whatever comes to your mind. Now's a good time to do that. Oh, and coming back to the beginning, how are you feeling on that scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the ultimate, 1 being the not ultimate. So write that number down. Here's the summary of tips. Maybe take a picture of this, remember it. These 5 things, if you were to incorporate even just one of them into your daily routine, I promise you that your life will be different. And if you can introduce 2 of these, even better, 3, 4, if you can do all 5, guess what? You get a gold star. The summary of tips, conscious breathing, right? Take that deep breath. Focus on the breath because the mind can only think of one thought at a time. So if you bring your attention to your breath, then everything else goes away. The second thing is to find your happy place. Remember we did that guided visualization where we went to the happy place, and it's completely up to you. Wherever your mind wants to take you, that's relaxing and peaceful, then you can go there at any time. It's actually, if you think about it, it's so cool that the mind has that ability to imagine and go to wherever we want to go. So find your happy place, take pockets of doing that, and then make sure to get good rest and take naps on a regular basis. If you have a lunch break, go into your car and take a little nap, put on some relaxing music. I promise you'll feel better, especially on the weekends. If Sunday afternoon, that's the prime time. Get out in nature, right? I just had to put that in there and spend some time with the trees, acknowledge the birds, take your shoes off, ground yourself into the dirt and connect with the earth. It will make you feel so great. And then we did a few of these movement and meditative practices in order to gain space and clarity so that we can become clear exactly what it is that our heart desires. Because that is the key. Is like, you can't get what you want if you're not clear on what you want. What I discovered is that as humans, of course, we are, I was going to say tribal, but community creatures. Human nature is to be in pods and to be together and to work cooperatively. But what has happened this year is that we've all kind of like gone into our own little nest, so to speak. So we are not able to meet in large groups, but when we can meet in the same time, like right now, we are all at the same time connecting through the miracle and magic of technology. It is literally the next best thing to build community. So even if it's not our class that you join, which we would love, love, love for you to join us, finding some type of group that you can be a part of in order to connect and to just share our similar human experience. Because as humans, we all experience challenges. And the more personal and the more vulnerable an experience is, right? Like if we have some kind of like really terrible thing that happened, guess what? The more universal and the more connectedness other people will feel to that experience. It's quite fascinating. So please take time for yourself. You deserve it. If you're not going to take time for yourself and appreciate your own self, then the people around you will not either. So it starts with you first, taking time, tuning in, incorporating some of these practices, and then life becomes much different and fabulous. Yes. I'm not recommending that you actually take a nap while you're at work. Please don't do that. But rather, like if you have a lunch break or after work, isn't to incorporate that into your day. Go into the car, like during your lunch hour when you're off the clock. You like need like a little nap cave, a little love cave where you can go into and just tune in. And literally it's like 15 to 20 minutes. Because once you start going over that 20-minute mark for the nap, then other things start to happen. So you want to keep that nap less than 30 minutes and it can work wonders. But not when you're on the clock or at work, but trying to find that time, maybe like lunchtime or right after work, or even on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, in order to find the naps. Okay, so what other questions do you have? There was a lot of shifting and changing and turning over within the past 8 months. But really, by even just being here today, it tells me that you are someone who is conscientious, thoughtful, that you care about improving your own health, and that you really want to help people. Thank you so much. And let's actually just end on this white pearl meditation note. Just a real quick practice to kind of just hone it back in. And what we're going to do is place one hand over the other right below the belly button. And then close your eyes for a moment and imagine a white mystical pearl that sits in your lower abdomen. As you inhale, the pearl expands. Feel the belly and the breath expand. And as you exhale, the pearl contracts, filling up the kidneys opposite the belly button on both sides of the spine. Inhale, expand the breath, expand the pearl. Exhale, recharge and replenish. As you breathe in, you expand, and as you exhale, revitalizing and renewing. Okay, bat the eyelashes open, shake out the hands, shake out the feet, give yourself a nice pat on the back, give yourself a pat on the back. All right, we did it. Other side, pat on the back. I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much. From my home to yours, please reach out. We hope to see you, and we're here for you. Take care. Until next time, may you be at peace. Mwah. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed it. We love you. Don't forget to take time.